Radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, winner of the National Radio Hall of Fame Award, Michael Savage. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Savage States of America.
Well, Eddie and Teddy did it. Thank you for being with me today. It's a momentous day in American history. All of the snot-nosed losers of the world can't believe that we, the people, did it. That's right, we, the people, did it. I love the articles that it's all the uneducated, dumb American white males out there who did it. They couldn't be further from the truth. I know so many people with highest degrees you could imagine who are 100% in Trump's camp. But these idiots are so out of touch with reality that they continue to feed each other the same lie that they're smarter than everyone, they're brighter than everyone, they're better educated than everyone, and only the dumb, unwashed masses out there elected Donald Trump. Nothing can be further from the truth. We won everything. We won the presidency. We won the House. We won the Senate. We won 26 governorships. But the biggest prize of all, next to the presidency, is that we won the Supreme Court for the next 50 years. Let me tell you something. God's hand is all over this election, and I'm going to prove it to you today. I've been getting emails from Israel proving that the Jewish Torah, in the letters of the Torah, predicted Trump's victory, and we're going to talk about that as well. But I've got to go back to the beginning. Were it not for you, the listener of the Savage Nation, there would be no Donald Trump. Make no mistake about it. We were there for him long before anyone else. All those who ridiculed him, criticized him, ridiculed you, calling you Trumpsters, Trumpettes, Trump voters, Trump of this or Trump of that. They laughed at you. Then they joined the parade all of a sudden. That's great. I'm glad everyone joined the parade. But long before they were there, I was there. And I bet on him and I won. I won big time. And the important part is that America won big time. It's not about Michael Savage. It's about America. It's not even about Donald Trump. He is a vehicle of change in this country and in the world. One of the first leaders to have contacted Donald Trump is the president of Egypt, because he knows that had the she-witch won, the Muslim Brotherhood would have been activated in Egypt, bringing down the largest Muslim nation on earth. 80 million people live in Egypt, and she wanted the Muslim Brotherhood to run Egypt. Never forget who she is. Never forget who Mook is. Never forget who Podesta is. Never forget who they all are, and they are part of the basket of history right now. They are in the dumpster of history, all of them, thank God. But now what do? How do we pick up the pieces? That's the topic of today's show and tomorrow's show and the next show. I received an email. First, I got to make this personal in order to make it political. I went to sleep after my party last night around 12 or 1 in the morning. It was before her concession speech. I really couldn't take much more of it. And before I went to sleep, I watched that guy, whatever his name is, Podesta, give the speech. I saw a face unlike any I had seen in modern American history. When he actually got on the stage, I saw the face of a touch of evil. Let me put it to you that way. It was a face of evil. And he would not concede last night. And I sent some friends emails, and I said, I'm afraid they're going to steal it in the middle of the night because he would not concede the election. I said to them, I'm afraid they're going to steal the election. In fact, I had Doug Lynn up in Oregon put it up on my Facebook and Twitter feed saying, I'm afraid they're going to steal it in the middle of the night. Well, just as I turned the lights out and was about to go to sleep, there it came. She gave the concession speech. 4 major newspapers declared him the winner. I had to take down my Facebook posting. So they gave it up pretty quickly, and I didn't think that they would. But you know, Hillary knew she would lose a few days ago. Why do I say that? The media's acting shocked, but she canceled her fireworks show for New York City 2 or 3 days ago. Internal polling showed them she was not going to win. Internal polling showed her what we all knew, that Obama is the most hated president in the history of this nation, the most divisive, hated man to have ever stolen the presidency. And by the way, we have 90 more days of this devil in the White House. He will use every trick in the book, executive orders. You can't believe what he's going to do to this country before he walks out of there. So we have a big fight on our hands, don't we? We have to keep our eyes on the ball. I know many of you want to celebrate, and you should. We have the presidency, the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, and we're going to have the Supreme Court. And speaking of the Supreme Court, Donald Trump gets to replace the Supreme Court justice who died under mysterious circumstances. I believe he was executed. Then we got the psychosis of Breyer, the psychosis of that maniac from the ACLU. She's going. They're in their 80s. They're on their last legs. They will be gone during his term, and he will replace them, I hope, with young men and women for the Supreme Court no older than 35 years of age. Because I want a conservative Supreme Court for the next 50 years. That's what we're going to have. And God's hand is all over this. Many of you had the faith that we could win. I had calls yesterday, and one sticks in my mind of all of them. It was from a man alone in a truck somewhere in Ohio. I don't remember where he was calling from, or Pennsylvania. And he said, Michael, I'm one of the Eddies out there. I'm one of the deplorables. He said, I'm sitting alone in a truck looking at a cornfield. I'm the one that was forgotten. I'm the one that was laughed at. I'm the one that was spit at by Hillary and those in the media. He said, I don't know what to think right now, but he said, after Donald was on your show, he said, I have hope. If you missed that interview, you missed something very special. And if you think that Donald Trump appearing on the Savage Nation yesterday was not instrumental in him winning yesterday in so many marginal districts, I mean marginal not in terms of individuals, but in terms of the competition, you are mistaken. There was a reason that his handlers chose the Savage Nation for the 12th hour. And that is because this audience is the most activist audience in American media. Never make a mistake about that one. You are the most activist audience of any audience in the United States of America. There are shows with larger numbers of listeners, but they're nowhere near as active. They're nowhere near as passionate about the show as you are. And I can prove it to you with the fact that I ran a last-ditch campaign to win the National Radio Hall of Fame award, and I ran against a very strong competitor who has far more stations than I with his own TV show, and I beat him by a large margin because you voted me in. It was directly to the people. That was almost a harbinger of what was coming. You see, when awards are picked by people on the inside, they can pick anyone they want. Just like the media picked Hillary Clinton. They said she was going to win. They sneered at Trump. But when the people themselves are allowed to voice their decisions, something else entirely happens. And that's what just happened. We saw our republic in action. We saw what the vote actually can mean. Many of you had given up on the process. I have a young man, 27 years old, who works for me as my personal assistant and as a producer and many other things. And he said he has hope for America now. He said, I actually thought the system was rigged and that no honest man could ever win an election again in this country. He said, I have hope for the future. I have hope for America. But the first thoughts I had last night after coming home from that fabulous dinner that I put on over at a certain place in San Francisco with some of the finest people I ever met in my life, all I could think about was how police felt this morning and how soldiers felt this morning and how Marines felt this morning and how pilots felt this morning. All I could think was that the cops felt steel running through their veins again. And all I could think is that the soldiers felt hope again. And they felt steel running through their spines again, dying to pick up arms for America, Americans, and our freedom. Once again, they feel the pride of their duty to America, and they're not going to have to face the wrath of the most hateful president America has ever had to live through. A man who has turned the war on police into an art form, getting away with virtual murder while pretending that he's a man of peace. They're not going to have to put up with this come January, are they? Because one thing is for sure, Donald Trump is going to be on the side of law and order. And even liberals want law and order. They are tired of being knocked down in the streets of New York by thugs who have been activated by Barack Obama. They are tired of being pushed in front of subway cars in New York subways because they've been activated by Barack Obama, who's given them a wink and a nod telling them about inequality and white privilege. They're sick of it. And even the liberals want law and order, and I can prove it to you. I'll prove it to you with one quick story. Out here in California, there were many initiatives on the ballot, including a ban on the death penalty. Another attempt by the psycho libs to eliminate the death penalty. They thought that with the advent of the marijuana and the legalization of marijuana and gay marriage, you know, their whole shopping list of progressive values, they could now kick the death penalty out the door. And guess what the people did in California? Even in liberal California, where there is no choice between candidates, it's all a single-party system, the Californians rejected a ban on the death penalty. In fact, they voted to speed up executions. For the second time in 4 years, voters rejected a law to reduce the maximum sentence for capital crimes to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In fact, Prop 62 was defeated 54 to 46%. That's a much larger margin than it was in 2012. Proposition 66 would have set strict timelines for state court rulings in capital cases, and it won a narrow 51% of the vote. Do you know what that means? People want those on death row to fry. They want Sparky. They want Sparky to start sparking again. And they want the psychopathic lawyers out of the jails. They want those vermin on death row to be killed for the crimes against humanity. And that's in liberal California. And that tells you that America wants a law and order candidate. And that tells you that behind the scenes, even liberals are tired of the crime wave that Obama has induced in this nation. Those are some of the ideas I have. I know many of you are dying to call the show, and I'm going to give you a number, 855-407-282. When I come back, I'm going to take some calls. I'm going to try and play a piece of the Trump interview from yesterday if you missed it. I want to read you one line from my war hero friend. He will remain anonymous. Silver Star Vietnam paratrooper. His father was in the First World War II, behind German lines, disguised as a German officer to capture Mussolini. One of the finest men I ever met in my life. He sent me an email in the middle of the night. He said, Michael, you stood in there like a rock. Good on you. What a night. Well done. He said, who would have thought we commoners would have the audacity? In both cases, votes for freedom and sovereignty from the globalists and leftist oligarchs. Thank you very much, Eddie. This is Michael Savage. I'll be right back.